Welcome to the new book releases of March the 11th. This week is a bit smaller as last week's was quite large for the beginning of the month. You can go back and check that one out though if you haven't seen it. We will have timestamps per genre if this is your first time here. Hi, I'm Morgan, and let's go ahead and dig in. As with last week, we're going to do snippets, not full descriptions. Trying, so they might be like long snippets, but not full descriptions. And also things might be mispronounced with a few of the author names. As per usual, you know. Our first one up is going to be Sci-Fi with Welcome to Forever by Nathan Tavares. Our main character is Fox, who is a memory editor, because yes, that's a thing. And he's actually one of the best. He's gifted with the skill to create real life in the digital world. Then he wakes up in the Field of Reed Center for Memory Reconstruction with no idea how he got there. And his therapists tell him that he was the victim of a terrorist bombing by Daja Banks, pioneer of memory editing technology turned revolutionary. So probably someone who saw his creation get used in a way he was uncomfortable with, and now he fights against it. And now though, Fox is thrust into reconstructions of his memories that exploded from fragments that survived the past. That sentence is weird. Fox tries to rebuild his life, his marriage, and himself, but he quickly realizes his world is changing, unreliable, and echoing around itself over and over. Because in a world tearing itself apart, to forget all the sadness, saving the man he loves might be the key to saving us all. And in fantasy this week, we have some anticipated sequels. The first one up will be Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff. This is book 2 in the Empire of the Vampire series. So we are in a post-apocalyptic time here where 27 years ago, something happened and the last sunrise happened. And now vampires are ruling and humans are kind of subjugated. Our main character, Gabe, is one of the last of the Silver Order Brotherhood that are defenders of humanity and fight against the vampires to bring humanity back. In it, though, Gabe is tasked with taking and protecting this holy grail to somewhere where the cure can be cultivated, which it doesn't say in the description, but thankfully that's from something else. And our second in the series is a dramatic increase in the narrative tension with bloody battles and Gabriel facing bigger threats than ever before. It's a riveting, action-packed adventure with much more to come. I will not be able to stop thinking about what I heard though from it. And that's going to, it's going to cloud everything I'm going to try to say about it. So we're just going to move on to another series that I really, really want to start. And that is Sunbringer by Hannah Craner. This is book 2 of the Fallen Gods series. In God Killer, our first book, the gods have been forbidden, and gods are created pretty much from human desires, and they're fed by the worship. And there used to be countless gods. Then there was a great war, and a new king outlawed them. And now he pays god killers to destroy any who try to rise from the shadows. I really question how a mortal king can outlaw gods. I don't know. I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure how that works. But our main character is Kristen, and she's tasked with helping a young noble girl with a god problem. Something about her soul, and it's bonded to her, and they can't separate. They're joined by a disillusioned knight on a secret quest, and this unlikely group must travel to the ruined city of Blenradin, where the last of the wild gods reside. And in the aftermath of the shocking conclusion comes the next steps in this alluring high fantasy world. From there, though, we're going to move into YA. And the first one is a coming-of-age general fiction. Well, it's listed, but, there's a concept of it that's like, well, okay then. These Bodies Between Us by Sarah Van Name. A wistful coming-of-age story with a haunting twist about 4 friends who spend their summer learning to become invisible, but disappearing comes at a cost. For 17-year-old Callie and her best friends, Talia and Cleo, every summer in their small North Carolina beach town is as steady as the tides. But this year, Cleo has invited enigmatic new girl Polly to join them, creating waves in their familiar friendship. And Cleo has an idea, gleaned from private YouTube videos and hidden message boards. They're going to learn how to make themselves invisible. Yet, as the girls revel in their reckless new freedom, they realize that it's getting harder to come back to themselves. And do they even want to? Then we have a YA fantasy, The Hedge Witch of Foxhall by Anna Bright. I feel like I've heard of this somewhere, and I can't exactly remember where. Is it going to be in a box? I don't remember. Magic is fading from Wales, choked off by King Offa's dike, the enemy earthworks that spans the entire border. Even the dragons have disappeared, and now an attack is imminent. Prince Taliesin would love to watch magic die. Prince Dyfed fears it and the throne, but when their father promises the crown to whichever son can destroy the dike and restore magic to Wales, the brothers are forced into an uneasy rivalry. Fionn works Hedwig magic for poor folk, not princes. Unlike the power-hungry Foxhall Coven, she uses only what nature can spare. But when the Coven's greed costs Fionn everything, she will need power beyond her wildest dreams to get back what she's lost. And so the three are going to work together to try to return magic to the realm. Moving into our thriller for the week, it is Watch Where They Hide by Tamron Hall. This is technically book 2 in the Jordan Manning series. After dropping off her child at preschool, Marla Hancock, a stay-at-home mother, disappears. She had recently left her verbally abusive husband in rural Indiana and moved in with her sister Shelley, who simply can't believe that her sister would ever willingly vanish without her children. But with limited support from town's police department and media resources, Shelley fears that Marla's disappearance won't get the attention it deserves, or worse, will go unsolved. So several weeks after filing a missing persons report, she reaches out to TV journalist Jordan Manning for help. Jordan's gained a reputation as more than your typical news reporter, a fixer with a vigilante edge, dogged and undeterred to seek the truth. I don't know why I did this. I mean, fixer was in quotations. Still don't know why I did it though. And our fiction this week is The Bumfoot Wanderings by Achilles Coda. Now this one is being put out by Barnes & Noble's Press, it looks like, and this is the only place that I could see it for sale by. It is also kind of a coming of age and war story. See, our main character is Bronson Bumfoot McGee. He's 17 and he was charged with murder. In his plea deal though, it was either serve 25 to life or serve in the Vietnam War. So he picked to go to Vietnam, and he's traded in his world of promise to don a steel pot, olive drabs, and jungle boots as an infantryman assigned to Alpha Company of the 101st Airborne Division. In everything he holds dear, from his letters of his love to the Oglala Lakota lore of his mother, serve as pillars of hope. Nevertheless, the obscenities of the war and the stacking losses of life start to wither the psyche, breaking him down, while conversely inuring him to the idea that, plea deal or not, his chance at survival is as slim as it was to those who gave all. For Romantasies, we have the conclusion to the Hades and Persephone series. It's A Touch of Chaos by Scarlett St. Clair. In this one, it is a reimagining of the Greek tale of Hades and Persephone. It takes place in New Athens, which is a modern city, so it is a modern urban retelling. And Persephone starts out in the first book having just graduated from college, as she is a journalism major, and she wants to write. She wants to do hard-hitting pieces even. And this is going to school was her first chance to get away from her mother, Demeter, where she had been pretty much kept secret and hidden away from the world her whole life. Lo and behold, they go out for a girls' night, I think it was, and they go into one of Hades' clubs, and she gets into a conversation with him, not knowing who he is, makes a bargain, not knowing who he is, and leads to not exactly being trapped in the underworld, but the romance that ensues. It was very interesting, like the first book. Next one's but we'll see how the series ends. As this one, war has come to tear the Olympians apart again. Titans are being involved. And I'm intrigued to see how she's going to try to end it. And then a start to a new series. This is A Feather So Black by Lyra Celine. I've heard something about Swan Lake-ish inspired, but then there's so much to do with the Fae. And the series is even going to be called Fair Folk. In a kingdom where magic has been lost, Fae is a rare changeling left behind by the wicked fair folk when they stole the High Queen's daughter and retreated behind the locked gates of Tirnanog. When a hidden gate to the realm is discovered, Fee is tasked by the queen to retrieve the princess and break her curse. But she doesn't go alone. With her is Prince Rogan, Fee's dearest childhood friend and Ella's betrothed. Ella is the princess. Soon Fee begins to question the truth of her mission, but time is running out to break her sister's curse, and unraveling the secrets of the past might destroy everything she's come to love. Last on our list this week is the romance Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. Their name, The Objectors. Their job, to break off weddings as hired. Their dilemma, they just might be in love with each other. When Sophie Steinbeck finds out just before her nuptials that her fiancé has cheated again, she desperately wants to call it off, but because her future father-in-law is her dad's cutthroat boss, she doesn't want to be the one to do it. Her savior comes in the form of a professional objector whose purpose is to show up at weddings and proclaim the words no couple usually wants to hear at their ceremony. I object. During anti-wedding festivities that night, Sophie learns more about Max the Objector's job. It makes perfect sense to her. He saves people from wasting their lives, from hurting each other. He's a modern-day hero, and Sophie wants in. And that's all for this week's shortlist. Maybe you were still able to find something to add to your TBR. I know I've added a few to mine. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing if you haven't, and coming back for next week with more books to add to your TBR. I hope you're finding something awesome to read today, and I'll see you in the next one.